Hi, I'm Sandy Ray, founder of Sandra E. Ray CPA, where we alleviate financial headaches so that you can create a bigger impact. Today, I want to talk to you about a really important topic, which is financial transparency and accountability. Transparency is an organization's willingness to disclose information about its operations, finances, and governance. We provide donors with complete information about how their donations are being used and how our organizations are run. This can include financial statements, annual reports, and information about our board of directors and our staff. Transparency breeds ownership. People feel more responsible for their piece of the pie when they understand how the organization works. And a greater sense of ownership and responsibility will ultimately lead them to become more engaged. And when engaged, people stay involved longer, they make a deeper commitment to the organization, and they understand how the work that they're doing impacts the big picture. Accountability refers to an organization's responsibility for its actions and decisions. An accountable charity will have systems in place to ensure that donations are used for their intended purpose. And it's being open to feedback and criticism from donors and other stakeholders so that we can improve our organization. So why is transparency and accountability so important? First, as I sort of mentioned, it builds trust with our donors. As people are making decisions about what charity they want to donate to, the importance of transparency becomes obvious. People are only going to donate to organizations they want to donate. They feel like their money is going to have the biggest impact. So it's important for donors to have access to financial information about your organization. As a matter of fact, it's the quality of the report that helps donors make these critical decisions. But the irony is that some organizations prepare reports for donors that don't disclose important information. I want you to consider that GuideStar published a study that showed transparent nonprofits received 53% more in contributions than less transparent organizations. So if your organization isn't being more transparent, you're giving other organizations the opportunity to attract your donors. Another area I want to talk about is obviously compliance and legal requirements. Transparency and accountability, those are like the main things in compliance and legal requirements. One of the main things with transparency and legal requirements and accountability is the prevention of fraud. Everything that we can do to prevent fraud, if things are transparent, it is more difficult for individuals to make mistakes or just outright commit fraud. There have been cases, unfortunately, where individuals have misused donations for personal gain or engaged in unethical practices. And that is something that we definitely want to avoid. For the most part, most organizations are doing a wonderful job, but we always have to be aware that this is a possibility and take steps to stop that from happening. By being transparent and accountable, you can demonstrate that you're committed to using the donations for their intended purpose and following ethical guidelines. One way to do that is to provide financial reports in the generally accepted accounting principles format. This provides readers with reports where they have an even playing field with other charities that they're comparing your organization to. It gives them the ability to understand that everyone is playing by the same rules so that they can compare the information. So the more information you can provide them about how wonderful your organization is, the more likely you to receive that donation. Another area I want to talk about is board oversight. We can use our existing financial statements to pull insights to share with our board. You can give your board a deeper story and help improve the transparency that we have with our leaders in our organization. One great metric I like to use comes from the balance sheet, and it's the number of months of cash on hand. And like it says, it shows how many months your organization could operate if there was no additional funding. A second metric I like to use is revenue diversity. It's easily calculated from the income statement, and it demonstrates how dependent we are on a single revenue source. And then a third metric I want to share with you is how much it costs to operate our programs. Now, this is a simple calculation where you take your total program expense and divide it by the number of programs. It's made even better by allocating a portion of our administrative and overhead costs prior to dividing it into the number of programs or whatever other metric you're using for that. One of the things I want to talk about is employee engagement. This is really important for me. It's one of the areas of transparency I think a lot of organizations really don't think about. But the more we engage our employees, the more that they understand the big picture, especially when it comes to financial information, the better they can do their jobs. But let me explain. If we're sharing information with our employees, whether it could be positive or negative, they understand what's going on with the organization. When they have this crucial information, they can confidently perform their tasks. They're not second guessing themselves about decisions that they have to make. The team members become more accountable towards their own budget. And when making decisions on buying supplies or talking to potential donors, they think about the big picture because they actually understand it. Ideas for sharing information with your team. Number one, present a one-page financial dashboard or an overview of the financial statements with a couple of relevant bullet points at your staff meetings. You might want to share information regarding gross and net revenue from your latest event, a new grant that you've received, or even why you missed your revenue goal last month. This is really not confidential information. A lot of this information is available to them by public disclosure rules. You're just providing it to them sooner so that they can have an impact on the financial health of the organization. Another area kind of leading in from that is decision-making power. Financial transparency and accountability helps with our decision-making and our planning. My kids can tell you, one of my favorite sayings is knowledge is power. And transparency in your financial and non-financial data provides people with that power at all levels of your organization in order to make really good decisions. We know that decisions are made when we have our best information. And then finally, I want to talk to you about public perception. Transparency can help charities achieve their goals and make a real difference. Donors with access to information about the charity's programs and their impact become loyal donors. Charities are transparent about their operations, engage in continuous improvement, and strive to achieve better outcomes. Now, I know I say this all the time. You've heard this from me many times. I want to talk about the 990 and the program service accomplishments. This is your opportunity to share information about your 3 largest programs, about the money that you spent to accomplish those things, and about the money that you received for those programs. Many organizations are not including enough detail. They write education program or girls empowerment program, and that's it. This is a huge opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to include much more relevant information, metrics, about your accomplishments, and that again gets people in, brings them in, gets them engaged, and gets them on your side so that you can do more. It's like you could do more with more money. Hey guys, come on. Sorry, got on my soapbox. So it's kind of to summarize, transparency and accountability are essential for the overall health of the entire charitable sector. When charities are transparent and accountable, They help maintain the public trust. This leads to increased support and funding for all organizations and has a positive impact in our society as a whole. When we're transparent and accountable for our own organization, we share our operations, our finances, and our impact. We can build trust with our donors. We can try to prevent or work to prevent fraud and abuse and ensure that we're achieving our goals. Donors seek out transparent and accountable charities and hold them to high standards and ethical conduct. In that way, donors can ensure that their charitable giving has the most impact. I hope this was helpful for you today, and I want to thank you for joining me. Remember, creating a bigger impact starts with stopping the nonsense. If you're dealing with nonsense in your nonprofit organization, we'd love to help you cut through the noise.